are pre-convention webinars in which we are hosting different types of experts. And the whole idea is how to make our Indian B schools more and more vibrant so that they are not only competitive within the country, but they should be competitive at the global level also. When we talk of business education, management education, we generally get the names of US B schools. And after US B schools, we have names of some of the European B schools also. Where are Indian B schools lagging? How to fill those gaps and how to develop holistically these B schools so that we can also attract global students to our business schools. And in this direction, AIMS is doing a fantastic job so that the improvement at the school levels as well as policy interventions so that the quality of education in Indian B schools can be developed. These days, developing innovation, entrepreneurial culture in any B school is also a very important aspect of our education. If these kind of aspects are not taken care, we will not be able to provide holistic education, or you can say holistic platform for the development of our students. And in this regard, today we are going to have one of the expert who has done remarkable work in the field of business innovation, sustainability, and social impact. I welcome Mr. Munish Bhatia, who comes with a very rich corporate experience for over more than 16 years. He has worked in uh, leading MNCs across the globe, and he has developed expertise in the field of project management, Lean Six Sigma, transformation, and so on. Munish ji has worked with some of the best clients and some of the best companies in the field of management. Interestingly, he is working at the intersection of those areas which are considered to be very interesting trade-off. You also want to have business, you also want to have growth as well as sustainability. How to have growth with sustainability is always a very important question. And we are going to discuss in today's session that how we can achieve business growth as well as sustainability and how these schools can actually provide that type of nursery for our students that they can actually experiment when they are students also. Munish ji is a very passionate entrepreneurship and grassroots innovator. And with that idea, he co-founded India Accelerator, which is one of the India's leading seed stage startup accelerator. Under his visionary leadership, I will say, this accelerator was recognized as the best accelerator of the country by the Startup India Award in year 2021. He is currently serving as the CEO of Bharat Venture, which is a pioneer accelerator fund focused on nurturing and investing in startups engaging from India's tier 2 and tier 3 cities. We all know now not only metros or tier 1 cities, but we are getting a lot of success stories from tier 2 and tier 3 cities. People like Bhatia ji, they are instrumental in supporting those startups which are coming from these real India, or you can say tier 2, tier 3 cities, and maybe even from the rural areas of our country. Mr. Bhatia is deeply engaged in the climate action, working on scalable solutions for climate resilience and environmental sustainability. He has supported and invested in numerous climate tech startups that focuses on mitigation strategies, sustainable infrastructure, clean energy, and circular economy. He is actively championing innovations that align with the sustainable development goals, and has designed ecosystem programs that integrate technology with environmental stewardship, empowering a startup to tackle real-world climate challenges with actionable uh, outcomes also, which can be measured in a way. I request Mr. Bhatia to give initially a brief perspective that how B schools, what type of, you can say, actionable agenda B school should take so that they can nurture the culture of entrepreneurship, not only culture of entrepreneurship, which is focusing just on wealth creation, but at the same time doing some social impact. Sometime when we are only in the game of wealth creation, rather doing benefit of the society, we do more harm to the society. So we need to see that the kind of ventures we should enter into, these are giving us prosperity at the same time helping the society around us. So I welcome Mr. Bhatia and I request to have your initial few points, and then we will deliberate further during the course of our next around 45 minutes of discussions.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Rajat. It's great opportunity for me to come to this session, and thanks for inviting me here. I have a few slides that I've prepared. Probably, if I can, share just to set the context in terms of, what can be the role of B schools in entrepreneurship journey. So I'll
Yeah,
request
yes,
if you we can share
our
that.
yeah, our host technical team will share that.
Sure. Meanwhile, I can talk a little bit about what we do and how we do it, and then we'll deep dive into.
Yeah. But before that, if you can also start that how you get interested into this social sustainability, kind of climate issues and other things. So, what was the trigger point, motivation that you started thinking into these areas?
Sure, absolutely. Happy to share my experience there. Of course, coming from a corporate background, I've traveled across the world and have looked at a lot of opportunities which were there in West as well. There was a lot of conversation around climate change while I was in corporate. And when I come back to India, I used to feel like, there's not a lot more conversation happening here. Everyone is aware that they should participate in this, sustainability, but the conversations were not happening. The solutions were not being, provided for the same. Everyone, either they were developing something, they were working in silos. So I thought, probably there should be some initiative where we can all come together and probably create some sustainable solution which can then, lead to a larger impact. Um, so I was also working with few NGOs, so I realized that NGOs are doing great work, but can there be for-profit company which focus more on scalability and still make impact? So that's where the interest started coming in, and of course I studied a lot around what kind of climate action is required, what kind of social impact that we can create, and that's where while I started my journey with India Accelerator, one of the mindset I had was that I should also focus on the social companies. So even though as an organization we focus on early stage tech companies to help grow, because entrepreneurship can be provided in a different ways, but one of the key focus areas is for us is healthcare and impact, where we covered sustainability, water, waste management, which I lead within I, and that becomes my focus for day to day to source those kind of startups and work with them. So, Gulika, can you share the slides if that's okay? And I can talk more around that. Rajat, just a second. Yeah, I think it's not full screen. Gulika? Yeah. Okay, sure. Just go to the slide two. Uh, So, just a short introduction about us so that people know, who we are and what we do. So, of course, Rajaji has given a little bit of introduction. So, we are a early stage, multi-stage fund-led startup accelerator. We have different funds. We have a accelerator fund, seed fund, and so on. And we have been in existence since 2017. Have worked with almost 240 startups where we have invested and helped them accelerate. Done more than $20 million of funding. We have different verticals through which we focus on this area. We also have co-working centers where these startups can work out, and there are a lot of programs that happens physically, both networking events, and we invite VC ecosystem and others to do panel discussions. So that kind of ecosystem we have created, and we have a pool of investors as well. And of course, we got the award for Best Accelerator in 2021 by Startup India in terms of having providing a holistic ecosystem for startups. Gunika, please move forward. So what do we do is we focus on three major areas. One is the acceleration, where we pick up early stage companies, help them with the ecosystem that we have provided. It could be mentorship from domain expertise. We provide all the ancillary services as they require: IPR filing, legal, accounting, and other aspects. But one of the key focus for acceleration program is to provide them market access both in India and globally, because that's where they can generate business. So partnership with corporates, MSMEs, and to some extent B2C as well. We help them do that, and that becomes a key factor for us in helping these companies. Of course, we provide funds through our AIF category 1 and category 2 funds, and we also have a physical infrastructure which called we as the hubs, or IA spaces the name. Go ahead, please, Gunika. So the idea is that how, as an institution, we have worked with a lot of education institutes as well, and we try to bring those services to the incubators or campuses where all of the services may not have been provided by the institute themselves. So we can be that entity to do it. So we work very closely to provide those legal, accounting, and IPR services. We also do entrepreneurship program, and we have also created self-sustaining operating model for campuses where we do capacity building for incubation managers, and involve faculty to start with the startups. And we have created a large network of alumni within the campuses so that they can tap into the network as well as the funds that they can provide. We also help startups with pitching, demo, and showcase. So this ecosystem has been created, and that has enabled us to work with these institutions. So just go ahead. Uh, Next slide, please. So we have created a value chain of partnerships through which we
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah, now we can.
Can you? Okay. So I was mentioning that we have created ecosystem corporates, and we also work with in centers. We work with like Lucknow, MDI, Gurgaon, plus some private universities like Anand University and others. So that ecosystem is there to help us understand where add. So that's about us. But I just wanted to understand if there are any expectation that is there in us the system today. So probably if you want me to something specific, do let me know. But I have just added that in case to call. But I think a lot of people, in case you want me to cover something specific, do share. I that.
Yes, so we will go ahead. Let us first finish this presentation. Maybe I'm losing your voice. I don't know. Is it only at my end or others? Hello, others are able to hear?
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Let me just switch network here. I think there is some issue.
Mhm. Bhumika, can you tell that whether I am not able to hear or others are also not able to hear you? Bhumika?
Yeah, Rajat we're just trying to fix the
Yeah.
internet. I think it
Can you
might
hear me,
be,
Rajat?
Okay, okay.
yeah. Munish, you might want to pause your video while the presentation is going on. It will help save the bandwidth.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes.
but it keeps on coming and going.
Okay.
Munishji, you can
Sure.
switch off your video.
Yeah. I have just done that.
Yes. Now.
If the voice is clear, I can continue.
Yes, please. It is now.
Okay. So so I was mentioning that within a lot of higher education campuses across the world, there are a lot of incubators that has been created. And if you look at West, of course, Stanford and MIT, they are the pioneer in this case because they provide all the support that is required to the founders. And of course, they have seen success in terms of getting more unicorns being created out of their campuses. On the similar line in India also, we have a large ecosystem of government providing some grants to the campuses for the incubation centers. There are more than 300 plus incubator centers being created, and all of them has their own way of operating. And we'll talk about few areas to focus on in incoming slides. But the idea is that there is an ecosystem being created on ground, but are we able to leverage that in the right way, or are we getting the startups to grow through that ecosystem that has been created? So there are schemes like AIM, which is there. There are more than 1,000 startups being incubated by IITs and IIMs also. And of course, these startups has been creating a lot of jobs in terms of helping these. Uh, yeah, Gunika, please go ahead. Some of the examples, if I can talk about where we have seen the companies or startups coming out of campuses have made success across the world. You all have heard of Uber, Airbnb, even Alibaba is there, and Facebook. So these were companies who were either created by the founders who were in colleges, who were doing their education, and at the same time were looking for ideas to enhance their entrepreneurship journey. And somewhere or other, the institute which they were in have played a part in terms of helping them grow, right? It could be seed support or grant support that is provided, or it could be the network of investors that they give access to. And of course, there is a lot of domain expertise that they bring in. Even if you talk about Apple and the Siri that was created in Stanford. So a lot of technical uh, development of the product was created by the professors in the institute, and then of course the students partner with them to enhance that and further take it to the world to succeed. So there is a lot of synergies that can be created within the ecosystem itself. um, just go ahead, Gunika. And not just West, I think in India also we have already seen success with a lot of entrepreneurs coming from B schools, done their MBAs, and have started their entrepreneurship journey. Either it was immediately or even not immediately. After a few years of working in corporate, they decided that they want to take a plunge in the entrepreneurship journey. But one of the example is, of course, the sugar founder. She has built a great company in terms of both online and offline presence, and of course pays large checks. But what they do at their B school in terms of learning has set up a foundation for them to understand strategy and finance, and of course then they apply those areas into their entrepreneurship journey as well. Um, we have few more examples. If I talk about even Make My Trip founder Deep Kalra, he has done a MBA from IM. Even Nika founder Falguni, she has done her MBA. Um, One of the great example is of course Sanjeev Chandani, who has done the whole circle in terms of initially doing work, being from a B school, and then moving into entrepreneurship journey, becoming a founder, and made a great success in what he was doing, and in turn become an investor and start backing other MBA founders and building them up also. So lot of these examples are there in terms of who have created not just great companies but also have created a lot of wealth, and that is where if you go back and look at their initial journey, you would see that the initial push has come from the campuses that they were part of, right? Um, so as I was talking about Sanjeev Bignanani ji, of course, being an MBA, then a founder, investors, and now turning into other, founders to help them. Even if you see the journey of Zomato, where the founder itself comes from a MBA background, but the investor also comes from a MBA background, right? And created a multiplier, not just for their own money, but also for the investors and the overall ecosystem in place. So the idea is very simple, and what I'm trying to talk is about that the B school entrepreneurship journey has already started playing a great role in terms of having the success, and that is because the fundamentals of a B school is talking about business, and there is an ecosystem is being created. But at the same time, most of the B schools right now focus around job creation and how you can get the right job, or even the mindset from a student's point of view is that how should I land a high paying skill job, right? But if there are some facilities which is provided within the campuses, their mindset can be shifted a little bit. Even if they have ideas, then those ideas can then be nurtured to become a full on startup. So there are few stages that I talked about. Of course, there is a pre incubation stage where innovation is assessed, and business plan is being created, and what they are creating and probably adding value at that stage will determine the journey in a long term as well. Once the model is being created and now they are ready to execute, the incubation stage actually comes in, where access to a mentor or a guide can be provided who can walk through the journey. It could also be some training or commercialization of the product being done. And then once they have launched a product, probably advanced business planning in terms of how to expand, which market to uh, cater to, what kind of research needs to be done, and of course very important, the access to finance. It could be grants, it could be initial angel or investment money that can be provided by incubation as well. And once that journey is over for the period of time that the founder the campus, there comes the post incubation stage where we want to expand it further, and of course there has to be more diagnosis in terms of what innovation we started off, how it reacting in the market, and bringing those learnings back to the model and try to tweak it. Also providing more commercialization opportunity for technology and the product that we have, and scale up around it. So these are the different stages of incubation campus can provide to a founder, and of course we will talk about the timeline and what kind of support is required. um, of course, you can move to the next slide, Gunika. In the pre-incubation stage, the entrepreneurs need special kind of skills and mentoring for them to at least to reality. So what we try to achieve in pre-incubation stage could be very different than incubation or post-incubation. So we need the right mentors in that case, and of course those experts should have 0 to 1 kind of their own journey, or they would have at least worked with few founders to understand what is required at that stage. So getting the right mentors, right team at this stage becomes very critical, because if you have picked up a different direction, then the time that it takes to course correct will be a lot more, and founder will waste a lot of time to come back to the right model. um, if you move to the next slide, we have different stages of the pre-incubation stage as well. So one is, you need to understand what is the startup ecosystem already exists. how to go through the process of idea generation. Can we apply the design thinking principles to our idea and create a POC? And once we have a POC, create a business plan, market go-to strategy in terms of how to launch it in a particular region and expand it from there on. Once all of that is done, then only we should have advise the founders to create a company. They should not initially get into company creation as a first step, but once they have reach a stage where they are clear what they want to do and what they want to focus on. um, Quickly on the next slide, we'll talk about few deep diving stages of the pre-incubation stage. Of course, we need to have the validity of an idea being accessed. If we do that, then probably focus on more on the training part of it. What kind of skills are required? If there are different team members, do they have managerial skills? Can they gel well with each other, or do they have a complementary skills? So those things has to be focused on, and then talk about specialized topics like IPR rights, legal and administration. The orientation should be more around the business model and the business idea, defining it and putting it down on paper, creating full financial details around the same. And then comes the innovation assessment and the business plan, right? So you have a business model, but have you accessed the innovation enough through the experts or not? It could be that a particular campus may not have all the experts available, so bringing in experts from either the industry or a support from outside becomes very critical for a B school to help the startup at that stage. And once that is there, then you can create the financial forecast and the business plan of it. So that was more of a pre-incubation stage. The incubation stage, if I can talk about, is where where the entrepreneur starts actually working. They need full on time. So one of the key areas is we should provide them some physical space so that they can have their team, they can have at least their product being created. So most of these incubation centers within the campus, they have their own area where these entrepreneurs can brainstorm and work together. So that becomes important. And once they have a probably a minimum viable product being created, then they can look around commercializing, and the product stage becomes. So within like the incubation stage, I talked about five different sub stages. We also have within the incubation stage various support being provided as of today. Of course, I talked about the campus and working space where they can operate out of. There could be other infrastructure support that can be provided. There could be advanced labs that have been set up these days. It could be in partnership with corporates or the campus. They are doing, they are deploying their own money to set up these labs. Those becomes very critical, especially for the product development point. So any campus want to specialize into one particular domain, they can decide which kind of lab they want to have, right? And that's the more of a long term vision that incubator should, or a campus should have, in terms of which area they would like to focus on. And there are different and we can talk about later on around how to decide which one they should focus on. But other support is, of course, IP support should be provided. Just wait for a second on the previous one. There should also be some software and the digital platform that should be provided, so that the entrepreneurs don't have to pay it from their own pocket initially, because money at that stage becomes very critical. Very important, the mentorship or the industry connect or the investor connect as well. The validation of the product or the use case can come if someone from the industry who understand the space more in detail can give them a very candid feedback. So while we also work with campuses, we bring in a lot of these industry mentors who work very closely with founders, spend 2-3 hours to understand in detail and then give their feedback. And that feedback goes a long way in terms of helping them remodel the work that they are doing. Investor connect is more for them to at this stage understand how a investor would react if they go and pitch it in front of them. They can of course do some. They can participate in some of the demo days to see if there would be some interest to get a equity funding also. But I would suggest they should keep on meeting to at least get a validation of their product. And of course, the access to grants and capital, if the incubation center can provide. There are a lot of grants being provided by the state government and the center government, which we can apply for, and those can in turn be provided to them. One of the key areas is also that if there could be a small fund that can be created by a B school, which becomes, on the top of the grants that government provides, right? Then if you find few very interesting companies where you think they would need more capital and the campus would like to bet on them in long term, then that fund becomes critical in terms of getting the money back in few years as well. So some of these companies who have gone great in terms of creating value for investors, a lot of these campuses or the academic institute have also made good amount of money, which they can then put it back in helping more startups, right? So that becomes a key element for them to become self sufficient in 3 to 5 years time frame. You can't always rely on the government grants to do this. If you see examples of IIT Madras or even IIT Kanpur, even IIM Ahmedabad, they have found success in the companies that they have backed, and now they are using that funds to further fund the companies that are coming out. So quickly, if I talk about deep diving into the incubation stage, there are different stages. Of course, access to money, IPR, physical incubation is more of the initial stage of creation of the startup. Uh, in the second or the early stage for incubation stage, if we can provide access to the mentors, coaching, networking, even technology transfer, right? A lot of professors are creating IPs of their own, right? Can that also be transferred to some of these entrepreneurs who would then commercialize it and take it forward? Because what we have seen in our experience that a lot of IP being created, but commercialization becomes a challenge. So that can happen at this stage, and of course then have the expansion plan being created thereafter. Yeah. So what's next for us? If I talk about what as an incubator or a campus we should decide in terms of what exactly we want to do in terms of the different stages, right? If you move to the next slide, Vanika, I have mentioned few types of incubators. So there are traditional or regional incubators which orient more around job creation, and they will provide these services that I talked about. But it's mostly like, okay, let them work out of here, and we will charge partly for the services that we do just to get some money, sustainable money. But they don't have a lot of funding options, right? So that has been there, and a lot of campuses fall in that area. But there are new age venture type incubators who have come up, who have started providing venture finance, and there are a lot of involvement from the management point of view. So what happens is that if there is a buy-in from the management and they take it as a priority, then they also open up their own network, because a lot of these campuses have built it over the years, and they have a network being created. So that can be leveraged. There could be in-house funds also being provided. If there could be a small fund, Viveka, I think we have changed the slide. Can you go back to the slide, please? Um, yeah, thank you. So the idea is that, do we want to look at it as a long-term strategy to keep on working with startups and getting the money and returning it back? uh, that is something that has started happening in last few years, and we have seen few successes. Then there are also business incubators or accelerator, I would say, who not just provide these services, the incubation services, but they also help in the business expansion, which becomes a post incubation kind of service. But because they have a network, because they have consultants available or partners available, they help them with getting the partnerships done for them to expand the the focus for themselves. In that cases, there could be a lot of programs that they can do, especially working with corporates. They could be industry academia connect, where the industry can come and look at these use cases by the developed by these founders and provide access to their own network. And I'll talk about one of the areas in few slides. And last, of course, the pre-incubation, post-incubation services, where you can provide the network of companies through alumni network, or the graduates which have already been done, and then incubator can probably charge some fees for it. Yeah, go ahead, please. Some of the examples that being already existing, if you would have seen, I'm Bangalore done this program. They have done a program for a mobility startup working with Maruti Suzuki, and they are providing not just prize money but some access to domain experts and also access to VCs. So this becomes very key in terms of helping them with market expansion, and a corporate coming in brings in a lot of network that they have, and of course some of the use cases which they will then be given to the founders to solve. Um, Similar programs has also been done by IIM Lucknow in terms of pre-incubation programs. Of course, they have created that to uh, for a 4-month program, and of course there's a program fees for people to do those kind of certification. Um, so one, that the incubation or the campuses can decide what kind of incubation they want to create, and around that there is a larger focus that can also be done on the alumni network, right? A lot of the people who have passed out of the institutes would now be either working in some corporates, or they would have created their own companies. They come very handy in terms of bringing that domain expertise that we talk about, or the mentorship that we talk about, and of course capital, right? If you tap into that and get them connected to the founders, then that becomes a key multiplier effect for all of these campuses. So this is something that we should focus a lot more, and we have a lot of success stories around that, and I'm happy to share these. But a lot of alumni who have passed have now started creating their own funds to back the startups in their campuses itself. So not just being an angel investors, now they want to take participation in nurturing these founders, both from a mentorship point of view and providing additional services. Yeah, please go ahead. So now that we know what kind of incubator we want to be, and we have tapped in alumni network, we should also decide that can we or do we have capacity to engage corporates at some level, right? Um, why is important is because a lot of these corporates have their innovation needs that they to cater to, but founder or startup ecosystem may not have access to those kind of use cases. So how can
Hello.
We seem to have lost Munish once again.
Yeah, yeah, I think he's not there
network
anymore.
Yeah, he's here. He's here. Munish, are you online?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So I was talking about that the critical aspect of engaging a corporate would be to tap into the use cases that they have, or provide them those innovation solutions and they will provide the lot of network. Now,
Munish, your voice is cracking a lot. You may want to rejoin.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, my apologies again. I think there was a network issue. Um,
You can still see the
uh,
slides, right?
yes, yes, I can.
Okay.
Thank you.
Recording in progress.
Yeah. Um, So quickly talking about these programs, why this becomes critical, and that is the role I would suggest that if we can play as a B school, it will be great value add to the ecosystem because that is where we have seen success happening in West also with large number of successful companies coming out of thanks to the corporate and academia connect, and we are seeing few of them happening now, but we need more of that, right? Um, that will also help us identify our key skill set that a campus can provide, especially probably a particular technology or a particular domain that they want to operate out of. Every campus has faculty who want to do innovation around the same. So we have seen use cases in AI, healthcare, automation, even drones has become a key nowadays. So can we identify what is the skill set for us, or the domain that we want to focus on, and accordingly reach out to those corporates to partner with the campuses to look for the right kind of use cases and then create a ecosystem around it. So ecosystem will revolve around mentors and the domain expert, plus the companies who are working or operating in that area, and also investors who want to invest in that focus area also. The example is, of course, SDFC is doing these Pravartan programs where they do provides grants, right? And they also provide their banking network. We also have seen ONGC do lot of these programs. They have already created a more than 100 CR fund to help these companies, right? So can some of us reach out to these corporates who are already working, or maybe reach out to the new set of corporates also who may not know how to do this, but the campus can play a role in educating them and leveraging their network to help the companies. There could also be specific requirement or a problem driven startups that we can reach out to. So for example, a PVR cinema, when we reached out to, they were interested to look for companies in a D2C segment who are focusing more on the customer experience point of view, while the Tata AI was looking for more from serving the customers in insurance and the fintech space, right? Similarly, JSW Sports wants to focus on startups from in the domain of sports itself. So all of these corporates have their own key agendas, and they have created plans for next 5 to 10 years. So we need to identify which are these corporates, and do they align to the vision that the campuses has, and then start programs with them, right? And do a follow on in terms of the investments and everything is there. So that could be one major focus area for us. Um, if you move to the next slide, yes. One of the suggestion is to set up a domain specific accelerator program or incubation program. This is something that I've mentioned is where academia, industry, and all startups can come in together to create that kind of hub, not just for creating an R&D, but also providing ready solutions to these corporates to start using those in the areas. um, and how do we do that? Of course, there are open innovation challenges that being created. You look for specific innovation programs being shared by these campuses or by these corporates. Then you reach out to larger ecosystem through various channels. You evaluate those solutions based on the criteria being set up by campuses and the corporates, technology, innovation team, business model, and then you prepare a short list of startups which can then uh, has to be reviewed by the expert committee to finalize the engagement model. So it could be, are we focusing more around providing them MVP stage or growth stage? And once that has been taken into account, we create a detailed plan in terms of how to execute uh, and work with these companies. So there are different stages of the innovation. um, there could also be some capacity building programs being created, wherein the trainings and the workshops can be done, which will enhance the not just the capacity of a campus, but also the quality of startups coming out of the campuses as well, because that skill set is required, and a lot of students entrepreneurs may lack it. But can that gap be filled by the campus is something that we have to see. There is already mentors that we have brought in. Can those also be utilized to provide those entrepreneurship courses, right? um, some of the examples are or similar experience that we have done. I can share it with Anand University, or even with Gujarat JUSEC. We have done it, and we have also worked with other companies like PVR, JSW Sports, Tata AI, to do the corporate innovation program. So this is just to showcase that there are already companies who are doing and working in the similar models. As a B school, we have to identify, does it work for us, or which element do we want to pick up? Do we want to focus just on the pre-incubation or incubation stage, or do we want to expand our horizon and do more of it? If we are early incubation, then I would suggest that we should only focus on providing those services. As we grow, as we build our network, we can decide to do multiple things, but it's more based on building your own capacity, right? So I'll just stop there, in terms of the slide, but there's definitely a lot of do's and don'ts in terms of how we select the domains, how do we select what kind of programs we want to do it. But it's majorly focused on where the management wants to take the incubation centers or the campuses in 2 to 3 years time frame, and based on that we can take a call in terms of deciding that. So I think I have taken a lot of time to go through this, but I'll just stop there in case there are any follow up questions, or you want me to cover something else. There is a lot of content, of course, but I will just hold it for now.
Yeah, so thank you, Manishji, for these initial remarks. And it gives a complete picture about not only of your role, as well as various nuances related to entrepreneurial ecosystem in the institutions. You also shared some very interesting case studies that how success stories are created from B schools. I want to understand one thing, that because in India there is a wide spectrum of B schools. So we have IMs on one side, and then we have you can say tier two institutions also. Now, for a tier two institution, what should be the step one, step two, if you can give us some perspective that, okay, this is how tier two institutions can go ahead for promotion of entrepreneurship in their institutions.
Right. So what we have seen is that a lot of limelight is being given to the IMs or Tier One institute. Of course, they have been doing a lot of work over these years, and they have shown some success. But the idea is also to have a lot more B schools doing their part. As I was mentioning, if they can tap into alumni network, right, that could be initial, understanding for them that where they can add value. So it's not just about taking any startup and then starting these programs. You need to know your own strength, right? It could be professors, in what kind of areas they have been focusing on. Is there a niche that can be created rather than doing expansion across the domains? It could be agri-tech or some social sector as well. It could be focusing on tier 2 tier 3 use cases, or it could be technology based, right? Alumni network, professors, or probably what kind of ecosystem is there around the campus also we have to see. So for example, if I talk about Rajkot or Surat area, right? There's a lot of manufacturing available. There's a lot of MSME sector being created. So why not institute their focus around that? Because there would be ready-made use cases available, plus the support could be provided. So destination or could be one area, and your own strength of alumni and difficulty is what you should focus on.
I have requested our other participants to share their questions also. One more question I have as an investor, since you are a early stage investor. Generally, we these days we think of how investors will get our money back, about the valuation game. But since you are more passionate about sustainability and social impact startups, in which probably the valuation may not increase so fast. So, how means investors are looking these kind of startups?
Right. So I think in the impact space or sustainability space, the mindset has to be a little different. It's not that we don't want profit. Of course, profit should be there, but the purpose is more to create an impact, right? So the multiplier or the VC is looking for multiplier of 30, 40x for the investment that they do in technology companies. You may not get that, but you can still focus on 3, 4, or 5x kind of multiplier. That is also a good money, right? So that is why there has to be different kind of investors who not just focus on profit but also on the purpose, right? So if we are focusing on sustainability use cases, then we need to look or tap into those kind of investors only. We may not just want to go and get any VC, as long as the use case also can generate huge profit. Because what happens is that probably after one or two rounds, the if the VCs have a different mindset, then the push coming from them would also be very different, right? So having a
Yes.
like-minded investors who revolve more around the purpose will help entrepreneur more in terms of their journey rather than anything else.
I will be happy if you can share your any case study where you invested and that created a good social impact, and how you could help those founders that with your mentorship also and with your funds also.
Sure, there are a lot of use cases like that. Of course, one is in the agri-tech space. There is a company called BioVeda, which work with farmers. They have created a community around that, and of course, we have helped them get access to a lot of FPOs, and also work with state governments. So now they are expanding on ground. They are providing them the right feed. One of the area of intervention was also to provide them technology solution so that they can get access to those farmers quickly and start recording those data so that the customized support can be provided, right? They are also raising funds, and they have raised three funds now. So they have created value, but at the same time, increasing the income of farmers is becomes one of the priority for them. Then there are other use cases in the technology areas also. So in sustainability, there are few like there is a company which has created IoT device and a software for reducing the carbon dioxide emissions from industrial plants. They are a for-profit company and they have Fortune 500 clients, right? So even though they are creating impact, they are still generating profit, right? So some of the examples are there, but happy to share more if the time permits.
We still have 2 3 minutes left. So because we started 3:05, so mm, I'm requesting any of other audience if they have any question to Mr. Munish.
I think it's a webinar. I don't know how many people will be able to share their questions. So yeah, in case there is anything that comes to you later on, I'm happy to answer it on email or WhatsApp also. Because what we could cover here was just a small bit of it. Of course, there's a lot more to add.
Yeah, so I think I request other participants that whenever time permits, and any of the incubator where Munish ji can help to show that what are the various elements of that ecosystem, because it is the important thing to develop that ecosystem, and where you have IPR activities also, where you have mentorship also, where you have opportunity of networking also, when you have opportunity of some kind of tinkering activities also. So all these things play important role when we want to develop entrepreneurial activities in our educational institutions. So if those who are attending this particular session, they will certainly, Mr. Munish will help to show some of those ecosystems in B schools or other professional colleges where we can learn about how to develop that ecosystem in our institution so that more and more colleges in tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities can start working on these lines. And then only the overall purpose of making India Viksit Bharat, generating wealth through social impact, all these things will be possible. I am thankful to AIMS, Professor Durga Prasad ji, for giving me this opportunity to host this session with Munish ji. And I'm thankful to Mr. Bhatia for sparing his time and giving valuable insight, a complete picture about the entrepreneurial ecosystem in our country, the funding opportunities, some of the good success stories. Success stories are very important to attract more people to participate in that process. If we don't have success stories, people will feel that it's not our cup of tea. So these success stories plays very important role in attracting more students, more faculty members, and more you can say B school owners to create that vibrant ecosystem in their institutions. So thank you very much for your time, Mr. Bhatia.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me as well. Thanks to the AIMS team do that. As you said, we are happy to share our insight in terms of how we work with campuses. So we have a full campus entrepreneurship program. So anyone looking for help, you can reach out to us on the email that was shared on the chat. Happy to have a one-on-one conversation to provide a customized solution also.
Uh, in case AI must, if all of us can open our cameras, we can have a group photograph also before we. Is it possible that others also open their camera? Maybe others are not in a position to. Gunika, can you help in taking a picture?
Okay, I've got one. I'm going to click another one as well. This is the last call for anybody who wants to be a part of this. Got it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Manish.
you. Yeah, thank
Take
you.
care. Bye.